Hello everyone and welcome back to Wonder of Faith. As always, I'm Anthony Bush, and today we'll be talking about the premier doctrine for relations with the orders. So this is a little bit different. We're still within the order of wisdom, and we've reached kind of a more legalistic portion of the orders. So we have this system before us, this collection of ideals that kind of are supposed to guide us to be faithful. But there can always be a part of us that tries to rationalize our actions and find some part of the orders that gives us the credence to do something. And that, of course, is not good, because if we're just trying to use the orders or its ideas as a way to just justify our actions, even if they're sinful, then we are certainly not using them as we should. So the whole point of this doctrine is to make sure that doesn't happen. And it makes it very clear that we are not here to conform the orders to what we think we need to do or what we should do. Rather, we're conforming ourselves to the ideals of the orders, to give ourselves to them so that we can be good, so that we can love more perfectly, see God more purely, and so on. So it says, "It is ever important that these orders are used properly. Therefore, guidelines against rationalization and abuse of the orders are to be specified so that we may remain true to ourselves and stand before the Lord through our greatest potential of good." I also want to talk about, after this, we're going to kind of tying in, we're going to talk about what does it mean to be true. And I think that's something that we may struggle to think about sometimes, but it's very important that we keep it at the forefront of our mind, of our will, to be true. I know true has many connotations, but we're going to unpack that as we go along. So rule number 1, there shall be no ruling that states that one order shall be superior to another. All orders are equal in importance and rank. So just because one order says to pray doesn't mean that we need to stop being good friends because we need to pray all the time. That's not right. It's that we have to take all that's in here, let it sit with us, and then let it order itself in a way. We, I think, have an intuition to know what's important at what time, and to put things in the right order, in the right time, is a skill that I think can be developed over time. And so it's not that we trade one for the other, but it's that we see them all as important in the right time, in the right place, and that we act accordingly. Number 2, there shall be no ruling of contradiction in the wondrous orders. So one part may talk about enjoying life to its fullness and what all that God has given us. And another part may say not to be gluttonous. Well, just because these are both may seem contradictory in some fashion, that enjoying may include eating out a lot, but then we're not supposed to be gluttonous. It's not that they're contradicting each other. It's that it's the spirit in which we do something. One is describing an action, which is not to do something, not to be gluttonous, while the other is describing a sense of understanding, which is to understand that life is to be enjoyed. These two are not contradictory, but work together. But it requires the human spirit, the human soul, to make them work together. Because one can enjoy life and enjoy the culinary arts without necessarily being gluttonous and eating more than we should and being sinful about it. So it takes an amount of understanding, of thinking, for us to kind of, as I said before, order it correctly and truly understand the orders as a whole, not just from one piece to the other. The same with the Bible. It's not that one story is contradicting another, but it's illuminating something to us, a lesson that we're meant to learn, that God has put in the Bible. So the same with the wondrous orders. It's not that one thing is supposed to be taken out of context and compared to another part. It's looking at the whole of what it's saying that's important. Number 3, the constitutions that follow cannot override the orders, but can only expand their truth and message to the soul. So we are almost done with the orders themselves. And hereafter there's a foundation section which talks about how we can live out the orders in our lives, and through a few suggestions. And then after that, the rest of the book, the majority of the book, is what is known as the constitutions of the orders. And these are little sections that deal with portions of life, whether it's suffering or finding what good is. These little things kind of expound on the orders we've been through. And so though that part is in no way higher than the orders, but what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to take what we've talked about and learned here and then expound it and apply it to life through different circumstances. And so that's what you can look forward to, but also it's saying that the two are not competing in any way. Number 4. These orders are to be complements to works of the core faith, including the Holy Bible and the Catechism of the Catholic Church. So I've stressed this before, and I want to say it again. This does not replace Catholicism. It does not replace faith. It is a complementary guide of those things. It's additive. It is not meant to replace. And so that's why I find it important to stress that, because this in no way is anything new. We're not creating a new sect or religion or anything like that with the orders, but we're just focusing our attention to those things that that we may deal with in life and apply the faith to those things. That's what the orders is meant to do. Number 5. Let these orders stand as a testament of the faith of the wielder and be a constant reminder of the potential such a wielder has for good. So the orders themselves is a symbol to what we aspire to be. It's very much a list of ideals, and it's presenting what is it to be a saint or an ideal version of ourselves. And so the book itself is a symbol of that. To look at it, to hold it, to have it on your shelf. That's what it stands for. This is what I can be if I just listen and try my best to live up to these things. And so it's important that we remember that as wielders of the orders, that it's more than just a collection of ideas, but that it's something we're striving toward in fullness as a whole, and not just a volume of different discordant voices and points. Number 6. No part of the wondrous orders is to be used to rationalize some sinful act, for this rule of life remains fully faithful to the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church and all she professes. So as I said before, nothing in this volume rationalizes or justifies a sinful action. Never. And we know what sinful action is. It's not that we don't know. It's just that we're trying to find some reason to do it so that we don't feel so bad about it. That's what rationalization is. But the wondrous orders is not a tool for that. It'll go against its very purpose, which is to strive for sainthood. And so it's very important that we're honest with ourselves when we look at the orders, and that we see it for what it's supposed to do and what it means, not what we want it to mean and not what we want it to do for us. Because then we're just making it all about ourselves, and once again, we are making ourselves a godhead, and that is not appropriate, nor is it right or true. So that concludes the premier doctrine here. But I think this talks about something greater, talking about what does it mean to be true. Well, the doctrine, the order of heart, taught us that we relate to 3 things: ourselves, others, and God. So it's our job to kind of often assess ourselves and to be and to align ourselves to be true to those things. What does it mean to be true to others? It means that we show them who we are, that we completely give ourselves to them, to our friends, our family, our loved ones, even and those on the street, that we be the best version of ourselves we can for their sake, and not just be there for them in some sense that gives us some fulfillment or to use them or something like that. To be true to ourselves, it means that we don't lie to ourselves about who we are. And Passion really taught us about that we have to learn who it is that we are through time, through effort, and then we have to live it out. We have to align who we are with what we do, our actions. And so to be true to ourselves means to live as we are, and not in some lie that we wish we were or that the world tells us we are, because those things are false, they're fake, they lead to nowhere, they're illusions. But we have to constantly see through them and find what's reality, what's real, what's behind the curtain. And then finally, and probably most importantly, to be true to God. There's a prayer that I pray often before I go to sleep. I say to God, God, I will be true to you, whatever comes. And I pray that, and I may not I may be lying, and a part of me knows that I'm not really going to do that. Whenever I sin or be less so than I am, I'm not being true to God. I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to others. But I pray that so that I can be. I pray so that I can strive to be he who is true to God, whatever comes. With that prayer, I'm striving for that. I'm trying to be my best. And I will fail. I know I will. I'm human. I'm broken. I'm filled with sin. But with God, I can be, and I can hope for the day that I will be true to Him, whatever comes. I can live my life for Him. I can be of the highest good, of the greatest love, of the greatest obedience, the greatest identity and passion. All these things can be realized if I strive to be true. If I stop listening to what the world says and the menageries before me and shatter it, to shatter that glass wall, and then go forward and be who I was meant to be. So it's something to think about, I think, for all of us. If we're true to ourselves, if we stop worrying about who we're not, and we find who we are really, and then give that to others, give that to God, then we can truly be happy. We can truly see the future for what it's supposed to be, and then we can live it out. No matter what trials we go through, we always will have that. We can always rejoice in that moment. And so I pray with you, brothers and sisters in Christ, that that may be our reality, that we can overcome and know only the joy that God provides by being true, by being obedient, by truly loving the church and allowing her to illumine ourselves and allow her to help us be who we're supposed to be. As always, I hope you find final victory in Christ. I'll see you all next time. God be with you.